Today I want to show you how to use the SEEd and NGSS crosswalks. These are good for finding lessons and activities and assessments and other resources that align to our SEEd standards. The crosswalks are on your grade level page or your subject page on the the district science website. They are found in this top planning resource section. We're going to use sixth grade as an example today. So I'm just going to pop out the sixth grade crosswalk. They are all set up the same. So we have our Utah SEEd standard and then the NGSS standard that is the closest match. Our standards and the NGSS standards are based on the same document, which is a framework for K-12 science education. However, the standards are not necessarily identical. So some of them are very similar. So 611 and the NGSS corollary are almost identical. They have the same practice, which is developing and using models. They have the same cross-cutting concept, which is systems, and the core idea is the same. So you can see they're looking at moon phases, eclipses, and seasons in both of them. There are some times where the standards are a pretty close match. So for this one, the practice is the same, but you'll see the core idea is a little bit different. NGSS has gravity as their focus, and in Utah, we pulled in both gravity and inertia. So as a teacher, I just need to know that anything I'm pulling from people in other states or national organizations that align to this standard are going to be missing that inertia piece. And so I'll need to build that in myself. There are also some standards that we wrote that don't have an NGSS corollary. So the thing that is important about knowing the NGSS standard is really just knowing this code. So the SEEd standard number for this one is 612. The number for this NGSS standard is MS-ESS-12. So MS just stands for middle school. If you teach high school, you'll notice all of the NGSS standards start with HS, and ESS stands for Earth and Space Science. And then this is standard 1.2 in NGSS. So I don't necessarily need to know all that, although sometimes it can be helpful to know what I'm looking at if I'm looking for resources. But I'm just going to copy that code and I'm going to paste it so that I can search for resources. So when I search for it, I can see there are a few things on the Next Generation Science page, but when I scroll down a little bit, I'll start getting into things that are more like lessons and activities and resources. So it looks like Paul Anderson has some things on his website, The Wonder of Science. Better Lesson is a place where teachers share lessons. Looks like NSTA has some things aligned to the NGSS standard. It looks like Science News for Students has some articles. So this is a website that has science articles that are written for secondary students. It looks like CK12 has some resources. So knowing this code makes searching for resources that align to our standards a lot easier. The last column on our crosswalk has a link to the unpacked NGSS standard with the evidence statements. So if you click on that and open it up, you'll see that the standard is here and it's been all unpacked. And then there are these things called evidence statements down at the bottom. This document can be really helpful if you are teaching something new. So that would be all of our high school teachers who have just gotten new standards. Or if maybe you've been teaching for a while, but you want to get a little bit of a better idea of what the standard is really getting at. So in this top box, it has the standard, and the NGSS standards all come with clarification statements, and some of them have assessment boundaries. These can be really helpful in guiding you and so that you know what you need to focus on. They've also unpacked the 3 dimensions. So it will have the science and engineering practice, the core idea, and the cross-cutting concept. And so always as you start looking at these pieces that are unpacked, we have to keep in mind that they may or may not match our SEEd standards exactly. Then the evidence statements get into a lot of detail about what students should know and what they should be able to do. So our proficiency skills are a really great starting place for building rubrics and developing curriculum, because they outline what our students need to do to show proficiency. However, they are quite general, and I know sometimes I look at them and I'm not quite sure what details students need to know or exactly what students need to be able to do. So these evidence statements can be really helpful because they do get into a lot of the details. So again, whenever we use these, we have to keep in mind that our SEEd standards might vary a bit from the NGSS, so we have to make those adjustments. I hope that these crosswalks are helpful as you are building your curriculum and your assessments so that you can find things that teachers in other states and other organizations have developed, and you can pull those in and use them in your own classroom. As always, if you have any questions or you need help with anything, shoot me an email or give me a call.